because I'm worried about
Come
that.
on, do something. This, especially when your officer comes up to me and says, hey, I've seen your content, but don't you think you kind of would expect this? No, I don't expect people to break the law.
Caught him reporting somebody in person.
I got him on stage. Hold on. He's wearing great pants.
If what you're doing is going around using racial slurs and profanity, that's a little different.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Are you gonna argue that in court? Because I walked into the gas station and walked out.
Okay.
And as I'm walking to my truck, I turn around, he's got something behind his back that looks like a gun. It's a drill.
Well, they're saying that.
So I don't give a fuck what they're saying. It's all recorded.
I got you.
And it's live streamed.
I know, I got you. And I'm just telling you.
And I have every right to say whatever I want on the internet without being chimped out on in public. Okay. All right.
So, Chud the Builder is a bitch. Yeah. He's a hoe, a coward, an antagonizing slut bag who goes around the city to get reactions from people, specifically black people. And how does he do this? He uses racial slurs, specifically the N-word.
I just think we're all equal, so I should be able to say what I want. I should be able to say what I want.
His whole thing is that this is America, and he should be allowed to say anything he wants under the guise of free speech. What a bitch. However, free speech doesn't give you the exemption from these hands. And that's why people like him always try to play stupid. Because yes, in America, you have the right to say ignorant things. But what they don't understand, or what they pretend to not understand, is that freedom of speech protects you from the government punishing you. It does not protect you from people thinking you a clown. It does not protect you from consequences. It does not protect you from social rejection. And that's the parts that these free speech warriors always leave out, dog. They want all the protection of free speech, but none of the social consequences that come along with using that speech to be a piece of shit. Sometimes you might get a verbal ass whooping, and sometimes you might get these hands. Plainly put, get your ass whooped. But the issue is Chud the bitch walks around in bitch form 24/7 holding mace, which he threatens those responding to him with, and allegedly he's carrying a gun. So let's be real about what this actually is. This is not some brave free speech experiment. This is not some social commentary. This is not a man standing on principle, dog. This is a man walking around antagonizing people while hiding behind weapons and live stream viewers. Cause he's a bitch. As soon as anyone confronts him, he goes from all-American free speech warrior to I'm a whole hoe out here. The cops coming.
He's a black guy.
Caught him reporting somebody in person.
I got him on stage. Hold on. He's wearing great pants.
What he does is start shit, but then he'll pull a gun out on you as soon as you do something.
You got me.
But I'm licensed to carry too.
And that's the thing that makes this thing so corny. Because when he's walking up to people, he want to be bold. He want to be tough. He want to be edgy. He wants to say the most disrespectful thing possible to get a reaction out of you. But the second somebody reacts, he turns into the victim.
We've gotten swatted 3 times in the last month at my own house. So we're live streamers.
Now he's scared. Now he's calling for help. Now he wants everybody to recognize the law. But where was all that respect for order when you was walking around trying to provoke strangers? Where is all that respect when you targeting people who just minding their business? He's creating a hostile situation in all these places that he goes. But you gotta be able to see the grift, right? They create chaos, then cry when the chaos responds. But what bothers me is his need to specifically target black people. I mean, if he really wanted to be a free speech warrior, right? Why does he target other groups with offensive language? Why does he go in public and just scream out right now that he's gonna hurt everybody in sight? You could test that theory right now, dog. Go into a crowded area and go yell your threat out, and then when they come get your ass, tell them, nah, it was free speech.
You stupid.
What a bitch. We know what this is all for. It's because of the views, man. Yeah, Chud is out here hoeing for views. This man will wet his mustache in a drought for a super chat. How would he do that? I don't know. Use your imagination.
Brother,
He's a whore.
whore.
And that's really what this is about, man. It's not about principles. It's not about the Constitution. It's not about having difficult conversations. It's not about challenging society. None of that bullshit. It's not about testing no limits or no damn free speech. It's content. It's fucking rage bait. It's his business model. And in today's internet, being a decent person doesn't always pay as fast as being a professional jackass. And that's the sad part, because people like Chud understand the algorithm. They understand that if they go outside and have a regular conversation, nobody cares, because virality is all they see. That's the only thing that creates a measure of success for them. But if they walk around saying racial slurs to black people, you know, the clips, they go viral. And the donations start coming in, and people want to start screen recording, people start reacting, the clippers start sharing his shit, and the platform just feeds into the beast. And that's why this type of content just keeps getting worse. Because every time somebody rewards this behavior, this shit just escalates. And the problem here will always be the reward. It's unfortunate that he does this online and live viewers watch his BS, donate, and encourage his behavior. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's a grifting whore. And I mean, this guy is literally doing what he knows gets him the most attention. And the sad part is, it will continue as long as these people encourage it.
Tell them, y'all gonna be an immigrant in my fucking country. Respect this land.
Pay the taxes.
Stupid bitch. Don't nobody give a fuck about them whores.
Nope. Oh my God.
Dick rider!
And it's even sadder that he doesn't realize that they don't give two shits about his safety. And they are here for a show. Even if they agree with it, they wouldn't dare do this shit themselves. So they support someone else to do it.
What's your claim to fame? What kind of stuff do you do? Just a lot of
I'm a free speech patriot.
patron.
I believe that this is America. We all have freedom of speech, no matter what color you are. And so you can understand that pisses a lot of people off.
Okay.
You can
So
understand.
you're streaming right now. How many viewers do you have on stream?
I could not tell you how many total. I mean, that's accurate. It could be accurate. It could not be.
What does it say?
It says 300. This right here, we're only at 300. I got 160,000 followers on X. There's a lot of haters.
A lot of these people in the chat are not supporters. They just spectators. They here to watch the show and watch this man crash out. They not worried about him at all. They're not invested in his well-being. They not gonna pay his medical bills. They not gonna show up in court with him. They're not going to be there if something goes wrong. They watch him because they want entertainment. They want to see how far he can push it. They want to see somebody crash out. They want to see the confrontation. They want to see the chaos. They want to see him say the thing that they wish they were brave enough or stupid enough to say in real life, because they won't do it themselves. That's why they send the money, because to them, he's not a person. He's a playable character. It's like playing virtual reality GTA, but the G stands for grift. With every donation, you watch your character get more motivated and confident to say some outlandish shit. Somebody drops $5 and now he says that shit louder. Somebody drops 10 and then all of a sudden he's getting closer. Somebody drops $20 and now he's ready to take it as far as he needs to take it. This shit is pathetic, man. But the chat is basically controlling him like a crash dummy. And that's how a lot of these internet grifts work. The audience sits safely at home, they laugh, they get to type wild comments, and they get to encourage the nonsense. They get to act tough behind a username. Meanwhile, Chud the bitch is the one physically standing there playing stupid games with real people in real life.
That's stupid!
And let's be clear about this, man. I'm not saying somebody should hurt him.
Stop the cap.
I'm saying when you keep antagonizing people in real life, eventually you're gonna run into somebody who is not thinking about your fucking live stream, your brand, your political point, or your super chats. They just going to respond to the disrespect. And that's the danger of taking internet behavior into the real world, right? You know, online people, they say anything, man. They get disrespectful, they troll. But in real life, people have emotions, man. People be having trauma, and sometimes people be having bad days. You might run into somebody on a bad day. People have limits and they have pride, families, and history. And when you walk up to certain people with racial disrespect, you're not just saying a random word. You basically poking at fucking history, man. You poking at pain. You poking at generations of disrespect. You're poking at something that has never just been a word in this country. And this is why it's so disingenuous when people like him pretend not to understand why people react. They understand. That's why they use that shit. That's why they don't just say any random offensive thing. That's why they specifically chose the language they know has weight. And that's why he goes after black people with it. They know it creates some kind of tension. And most importantly, he knows that it can produce a reaction, the reaction he needs to grift on stream. And then they turn around and try to act shocked when the reaction comes. This man is not a free speech advocate. He's a fucking grifter. And he's a bitch. He's an emotional scammer. You trying to bait somebody into responding so that you can play victim and cash out. What's crazy is you can tell Chud is a fucking coward, man. You just watch the way he acts when shit starts to get real.
Okay, don't worry about
Come
that.
on, do something. This, especially when your officer comes up to me and says, hey, I've seen your content, but don't you think you kind of would expect this? No, I don't expect people to break the law.
Call him reporting somebody in person.
I got him on stage. Hold on. He's wearing great things.
If what you're doing is going around using racial slurs and profanity, that's a little different.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Are you gonna argue that in court? Because I walked into the gas station and walked out.
Okay.
And as I'm walking to my truck, I turn around, he's got something behind his back that looks like a gun. It's a drill.
Well, they're saying that.
So I don't give a fuck what they're saying. It's all recorded.
I got you.
And it's live streamed.
I know. I got you. And I'm just telling you.
And I have every right to say whatever I want on the internet without being chimped out on in public.
Okay.
All right.
He has that fake confidence. Confidence people have when they think they have backup, when they think the camera is gonna protect them. When somebody try you, but then your homie's in the back. When he walks around with the mace and a weapon and keeps police on standby. But the second the situation start moving outside of his control.
I finally ran into him. He got his, I got mine. But he on the phone with the police. He just obviously started with somebody.
And this tells you everything, man, because a person who is really about what they saying doesn't move like that. A person who truly believes that standing on something meaningful does not need to hide behind shock value. This is nothing more than a grift for money, man. It has nothing to do with bringing awareness to free speech. There are other ways to demonstrate free speech. Being an ignorant asshole is not one of them. And that's an important point. If he really cared about free speech, there are actual issues he could talk about. There are people being censored in different ways. There's conversation about platform moderation. There's debates about government pressure, protest rights, speech in schools, workplaces, public spaces, online platforms. Those are the real topics. But he doesn't want those topics because those topics aren't what gets him paid. Those topics require some intelligence. It requires some thinking. Those topics require being able to have a serious conversation without relying on a racial slur like it's a punchline. And let's be honest, man, that's not his lane. His lane is to provoke people. His lane is making people mad enough to react. His lane is getting the clip and is being offensive enough to get attention but scared enough to hide behind the law when attention turns into pressure. And that's why I don't respect it, man, because at least if you're going to be disrespectful, stand on it.
Say it again. I'll walk you over here so you can
No, I'm good. We're live. Don't touch me, lady.
He's a bitch.
Oh my God.
Don't be disrespectful and play the victim. Don't throw rocks and hide your motherfucking hand. Don't poke people and cry when they turn around. Don't spend all day trying to prove you can say anything, then panic when someone proves they can respond. And again, this is where people confuse legality with wisdom. Just because you can say something doesn't mean that you should. You can walk into a room full of strangers and insult everybody. That doesn't mean you're smart. And that doesn't mean that somebody won't get up and slap the shit out of you. You can stand outside and scream offensive things. That doesn't mean you're brave. You can use slurs and call it free speech. That doesn't mean you're making a point. Sometimes you're just an asshole with a phone. And that's what Chud is. Here, in this situation right here, I'm sure these people thought that their free speech was going to take them this far. And look what it got them.
But I do accept the responsibility for what I've done. I know I was in the wrong. But I want you all to know that that is not me. That is not me. That's not him. I would never walk up to you and say those words to you, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I forgive you. I forgive all of you. I'm gonna make it like this.
20 years. Chud is just an asshole with a phone, man. And maybe mace and allegedly a gun, which makes this whole thing even more dangerous. This situation is not just talking about words. You're talking about a person intentionally provoking confrontation while prepared to escalate if somebody responds. Because now this situation is not just offensive. This could lead to real dangerous situations. You create an environment where everybody loses. The person who reacts reacts to this could end up arrested. Chud the bitch could get hurt. Police could get involved. Somebody's life could change forever. And all for what? A fucking live stream? A donation? A viral clip? A few people in the chat typing laughing emojis? That's why I say the audience has a responsibility too, because if you're funding this type of content, you are part of the reason it keeps happening. You can't donate to somebody antagonizing people and then act shocked when the situation gets worse. You help encourage that, and you help create the incentive. And that's the problem with the internet culture right now, because people just reward the worst behavior and then act surprised when the worst behavior becomes a career path for some people. Everybody wants to complain how toxic the internet is, but the toxic content gets the click. Toxic content gets the donation. Toxic content gets the engagement. Toxic content gets the people liking. You're not a warrior. You're a walking comment section, bro, with fucking pepper spray. And there's a difference. It's clear as day that everyone at this point is just waiting for this guy to run into the right person. It seems like the more and more this shit goes on, his interactions get closer to him finding out the hard way. And I don't even say that as a threat. I say it as common sense, because when you keep playing with people, eventually somebody is not gonna play back, bro. And that's the thing, because this whole thing is avoidable. He could literally make content another way, and he could talk about free speech without targeting black people. He could debate people respectfully. He could build a platform without racism as a shortcut. But that's harder, and that takes talent, bro. And he ain't got that shit, because he's a bitch. Racial shock value is one of the fucking oldest tricks in the fucking book, man. That shit is lazy and it's corny. It's predictable. And the worst part is people fall for that shit all the time, because now everyone's talking about it, including us. And that's the difficult part about covering people like this, because on one hand, you want to call it out. You want to explain why it's wrong. You want to expose the grift. But on the other hand, you know that the attention is the currency, dog. So the challenge is talking about it in a way that doesn't accidentally make the clown show bigger. That's why I think the bigger conversation is not just Chud the bitch. The bigger conversation is how the internet rewards people like Chud the bitch. Because if it wasn't him, it'll be somebody else. Every few months there's another person who realizes they can turn disrespect into content. They find a group to target. They find ways to provoke. They find an audience who wants to watch. And then they hide behind some bigger idea to make it seem deeper than it is. Free speech, comedy, social experiment, prank, public interview, trolling. It's always been some type of label. Because let's keep it real. The moment the money stops, the mission stops. If the donation disappeared today, would he still be out here doing this? Fuck no. If nobody clipped this shit or shared it, nobody reacted, nobody paid attention, would he still feel this passionate about saying racial slurs to black people? I highly doubt it, man. Because again, it's a performance. And a performance depends on the crowd, because the camera gives them courage, the chat gives them validation, donations gives them incentive, the outrage just gives them reach, basically. And that's the cycle, man. You say something wild, get confronted, play victim, get clipped, go viral, and you collect the money. Then you repeat that shit. And every time the cycle repeats, the stakes get higher, because now he has to keep topping himself. Now he has to get louder, he got to get closer, he got to get more disrespectful, he got to find a more dramatic confrontation. And you can see that as his content escalates. The old clips just not enough. The audience just gets used to it. But look, y'all let me know how y'all feel about it, how y'all feel about Chud the bitch and what he's been doing. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are on this. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And also, man, thank you to the people that have donated. We got one donation that came through today. Shout out to you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Y'all already know the vibes. It's your boy Goods. BigZoeTV. Let's go.
Fun to do bad things.
Take off the sweat now, take off the dope, take off the Birkin bag. Take all that designer bullshit off, and what do you have?